Okay. Today, our topic of discussion is celiac disease. It's a male absorption syndrome, celiac disease, right? Okay. मेरा ख्याल है उनको अनम्यूट इंटरेक्टिव कर लेते हैं हाँ उनको कर दो कभी प्रॉब्लम हो तो कर देंगे Assalamu alaikum everyone. We should make it as an interactive session. We are going to discuss about celiac disease today. If anybody have any question, you can ask in between. Can you hear my voice, everybody? Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We should make it interactive. You can ask the question in between. Okay, celiac disease. Basically, celiac disease is an autoimmune enteropathy. It's triggered by ingestion of gluten-containing grains in the genetically susceptible individual. It means the autoimmune disease. If the patient is diagnosed with celiac disease and he is going to ingest gluten, it means the patient is having symptoms and signs and complications of celiac disease. It's a small bowel disorder characterized by mucosal inflammation, villus atrophy, and crypt hyperplasia. As we have discussed, it's occur on exposure to the gluten and it improve with the gluten-free diet. It's called as GFD. Once patient will offer patient the gluten-free diet, the patient's symptoms, sign and complication, everything will improve. It's a variable degree of histopathological changes and or symptoms. Right? What is the pathogenesis of celiac disease? Basically, celiac disease occurs with exposure of the diet, gluten containing diet, gluten जिसको हम गंदम बोलते हैं, and it can occur due to infection. Yes, yes, I am Dr. Hafizullah Sheikh. Okay, and this is celiac disease could be occur secondly to the adenovirus infection 12, but the studies are saying that it can occur secondly to the adenovirus, and genetically it's strongly if HLA DQ2 and DQ8 are genetically involved, it means the patient is having 100% celiac disease. If HLA DQ2 8 present, celiac. No HLA DQ2, no HLA DQ8, no celiac disease. And other is autoimmunity. It's a TTG. Can anybody tell me what's the abbreviation of TTG? Everybody can hear me? Students? Okay, TTG is a tissue transglutaminase antibody, and it's a serological test, and we will diagnose celiac disease by TTG initially by serological test and then followed by the endoscopic biopsy. We will discuss later on. It's a normal duodenal. It's a normal duodenal mucosa in which villi and crypts are present in duodenal mucosa in celiac disease. As we have already discussed, there will be a mucosal inflammation, villus atrophy, and crypt hyperplasia. There the mucosal inflammation, villus atrophy, and crypt hyperplasia are present. If the patient is having celiac disease, several genes are involved. The most consistent genetic component depend on the presence of HLA-DQ2 and HLA-DQ8, as we have already discussed. Other genes account for 60% of the inherited component of the celiac disease. HLA-DQ2, DQ8 genes are necessary, as we have discussed. No DQ2, 8, no DQ2 and 8, no celiac disease. But not sufficient for the development of the celiac disease. What is the epidemiology? The old celiac disease epidemiology, it's a rare disorder typical of infancy. It's a wide incidence, fluctuates in space. 1:400 in island and 1:2 10,000 in Denmark. And in time, it's a disease of essentially European origin. The global village of celiac disease in many areas of the world, celiac disease is one of the commonest lifelong disorder affecting around 1% of the general population. Most cases escape diagnosis and are exposed to the risk of the complication. Active celiac disease case finding is needed, but mass screening should be considered. The impact of celiac disease in the developing Noman.
जी सर,
Okay.
मैं बैठा हूँ सर। मैं इनके सर
What?
म्यूट कर रहा हूँ तमाम और को बारी बारी।
अच्छा आप थे नहीं, अच्छा इधर आप आए भी नहीं हो, ठीक है, ओके, विल डिस्कस लेटर ऑन. Celiac disease prevalence data, right? Celiac disease in Brazil, prevalence on screening is around 1:400, and on clinical diagnosis it's not known. And on Denmark, prevalence on clinical diagnosis is 1:10,000, and on screening 1:500. Prevalence on screening data is more common in worldwide is around 1:266, and in USA 1:133. So it's a different geographic area and different clinical prevalence on clinical diagnosis and prevalence on screening data. This is the celiac disease epidemiological study in USA. This is a major study. This was done in USA, in which they have screened 13,145 patients, in which healthy individual was 4,126, and risk group were 9,000. And healthy individual, you have seen, you can see the prevalence was 1:133. You can see the cursor, 1:133, in which positive patient was 31 and negative was 4,095. They have also screened the risk group. They were 9,019. Risk group were the patient with symptomatic subject. Symptomatic mean the patient is having history of weight loss, failure to thrive, short height, anemia, infertility, not responsive to the iron therapy, and other are more common feature. And the other is first degree relative and second degree relative. In the result, they found that if symptomatic subjects, the prevalence is 1:40, and in first degree relative prevalence is 1:22, and second degree relative 1:39. Noman, can you hear me? Noman? Okay.
जी सर।
आपको आवाज क्लियर आ रही है ना, क्योंकि मैंने
जी
मास्क
सर,
पहना
मेरे
हुआ
को
है.
क्लियर आ रही है सर।
ठीक है, तो ओके, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू रिमूव द मास्क, क्योंकि मैंने मास्क पहना हुआ है ना, मैंने कहा कंफर्म कर लूं.
ठीक 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 ठीक,
ओके.
कोई इशू नहीं।
The signs of celiac disease are found among relatives, as we discussed. Patient with short stature, anemia, fatigue, and hypertransaminemia. Hypertransaminemia means the patient, if any patient comes to with you a report of increased SGPT and SGOT. SGPT is ALT and SGOT is AST. One of my close friends have persistently increased ALT. That's called it SGPT, and finally he was diagnosed to have a celiac disease by doing serological tests and endoscopic biopsy and everything. So if any patient came with hypertransaminemia, you should rule out other causes such as hepatitis and other causes. But if patient is not improving, if you are unable to find the diagnosis, you should search out for the celiac disease. Any patient with autoimmune disorder, Down syndrome, IgA deficiency, neuropathy, osteoporosis, and infertility, you should also look for the search for the causes of celiac disease. And student and general population, and it can occur, as we've already discussed, it can occur in healthy groups. What is the spectrum of celiac disease? Celiac disease It's classical occur in less than 5%, and atypical late onset. It's usually present like IBS symptom. IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, and it's late onset. Other is silent disease, in which extraintestinal manifestation will occur without GI symptoms, and other major is latent celiac disease, in which there will be a positive serology and negative biopsy. Positive serology means if you are going to order TTG, tissue transglutaminase antibody, it will be positive. But if you are going to do a biopsy, endoscopic biopsy from the duodenum, first part and second part, that will be a negative, but serology will be a positive. And other serologies are anti-endomycin antibodies and anti-gliadin antibody. But the most sensitive and specific antibody is TTG. This TTG IgA sensitivity varies from, and specificity varies from 90 to 98%, and IgG sensitivity is 40%, and specificity is around 90%. What is celiac iceberg? As we have discussed latent celiac disease. What is latent celiac disease? We have said the normal biopsy, normal mucosa. If you are going to do an endoscopic biopsy, it will be normal, but the serological test will be positive. In silent celiac disease, it will manifest as mucosal lesion and symptomatic celiac disease. In both the individual, HLA, DQ2 and DQ8 will be positive. DQ2, DQ8, no DQ2, no DQ8, no celiac disease. DQ2, DQ8 present, it means the patient is having celiac disease. Right? The classical gastrointestinal manifestation, most common age of presentation is 6 to 24 months, but it can occur later on. The chronic or recurrent diarrhea, if any patient present with recurrent or chronic diarrhea, you should rule out celiac disease. Abdominal distension, anorexia, failure to thrive or weight loss, as we have already discussed, abdominal pain, vomiting, constipation, and irritability. This is the typical celiac crisis. Non-gastrointestinal manifestation, most common age of presentation is older child to adult. This is iron deficiency. If any patient present with iron deficiency anemia, as we already discussed, and is resistant to oral iron, you should search out the cause for celiac disease. There are dermatitis herpetiformis, dental enamel hypoplasia of permanent teeth. These are the non-GI manifestation. Osteopenia, short stature, delayed puberty, hepatitis, hepatitis means transaminase will be increased, and epilepsy with occipital calcification. This is the dermatitis herpetiform. Picture of dermatitis herpetiform. It is a raised vesicular pustular lesion, and inflamed lesion are present. It's most commonly associated with celiac disease. Other is silent. It means no or minimal symptom, but the mucosa is damaged and positive serology. Identified by screening asymptomatic individual from groups at risk, such as high risk are Down syndrome, type 1 diabetic patient, and first degree relatives. In latent celiac disease, no symptoms but normal mucosa, but may show a positive serology. It's identified by following in time asymptomatic individual previously identified as screening from groups at risk. These individuals, given the right circumstances, will develop at some point in the time mucosal changes, plus minus symptoms. These are the disorder associated with the celiac disease: endocrine disorder, neurological, cardiac, hepatic, and other. In hepatic, we have already discussed if any patient present with hepatitis, if other causes of hepatitis are ruled out, you should search for celiac disease. Primary biliary cirrhosis, autoimmune hepatitis, autoimmune cholangitis. These are the disorders associated with the celiac disease. Other endocrine disorder are thyroid disorder, reproductive disorders, infertility, Addison's disease, type 1 diabetes. In neurological, cerebral ataxia, neuropathy, epilepsy, migraine. These are the disorders associated with the celiac disease. and cardiac or idiopathic dilated cardiomyopathy, autoimmune myocarditis, and others are the anemia, most commonly the iron deficiency anemia is resistant to the oral ferritin iron, and osteoporosis, selective IgA deficiency, Sjogren syndrome, juvenile chronic arthritis, Turner syndrome, Down syndrome. Okay, prevalence of celiac disease in subgroup. In iron deficiency anemia, asymptomatic 2 to 5% and symptomatic 10 to 15% of cases. Low BMD, bone mineral density 0.9 to 3.4%, and increased transaminase, its prevalence is around 1.5 to 9%, and infertility prevalence is 2 to 4%. What about fertility in celiac disease? Delayed menarche can occur, premature menopause, amenorrhea, recurrent abortion, relative infertility, increased perinatal mortality, and poor outcome of fertility may be corrected by the gluten-free diet. Major complication of celiac disease are short stature, as we have already discussed, dermatitis herpetiform. If we are going to treat celiac disease, it means gluten-free diet, GFD. If we are going to give gluten-free diet, you can prevent all complication. Even celiac disease, one of the major complication is malignancy. It can cause lymphoma, and the most common lymphoma is T-cell lymphoma. We will discuss. And other is recurrent stomatitis can cause fertility problem, osteoporosis, gluten ataxia, and other is intestinal lymphoma. Who should be screened for celiac disease? Screening of general population is not recommended. If any patient with GI symptom or other symptom or celiac disease high risk group or some condition, then you should screen. We've already discussed if any patient have got persistent increased aminotransferase, as I've given you example of my friend, close friend, he was diagnosed with celiac disease. Only with this finding, persistent increased aminotransferase, after ruling out all other causes of increased ALT and increased AST. And short stature can be the if any patient with present with short stature, you should screen for celiac disease, IDA, iron deficiency anemia, delayed puberty, recurrent fetal loss, infertility. And other are the chronic diarrhea, malabsorption, abdominal distension, weight loss. They all should be screened for celiac disease. Type 1 diabetes mellitus, autoimmune endocrinopathies, first and second degree related with celiac disease. As we have shown you the study which is done in USA, the first and second degree relative have higher incidence of celiac disease. So they should be screened for celiac disease. And other conditions such as IBS, autoimmune disease, peripheral neuropathy, and cerebral ataxia. How you will diagnose? As we've already discussed, diagnosis by serological test and the endoscopic biopsy. The most common serological tests are the TTG, tissue transglutaminase antibody, and other antibodies can be used, but TTG IgA is more sensitive and specific. If any patient is having IgA deficiency, then you go for anti-TTG IgG, and other serological tests are anti-gliadin antibody and anti-endomycin antibody, and you can also you should also go for HLA-DQ2 and HLA-DQ8. If HLA-DQ2, DQ8 present, it means the patient is also having celiac disease, otherwise not. Confirm diagnosis before treating, because celiac disease, the treatment is gluten-free diet, and it's not easy to not to take gluten, and it affects the quality of life implication and how to buy the gluten-free products and everything. You should search for the gluten-free product and also see the hidden things which are written in the gluten you should avoid if the patient is having celiac disease. Now, the role of serological test: identify symptomatic individual who need a biopsy. If serological test is positive, then you should go for endoscopic biopsy. Screening of asymptomatic at risk individual, go for serological test. Supportive evidence for the diagnosis and monitoring dietary compliance. Serology screening for celiac disease. All screening and diagnostic tests to be done with the patient on a gluten-containing diet. It's a mandatory. Patient should be on gluten-containing diet, then you should do a serological test. If you on clinical ground, clinical suspicion, your suspicion is celiac disease and you have stopped the gluten patient, then the false negative and false positive rates will be high, right? And other old serology we already discussed. The anti-gliadin antibody can be done. It's IgG, IgA, like as anti-TTG, and other is anti-reticular antibodies and IgA endomycin antibodies. But the anti-TTG is more sensitive and specific, and its sensitivity varies from 90 to 98%, and specificity both for IgA, right? It's a quantitative immunosorbent assay from guinea pig or human recombinant. Okay, now we'll start from this TTG, tissue transglutaminase antibody IgA. Sensitivity is 90 to 98%, and specificity is 95 to 98%. If any patient has got IgA deficient, then you will order for IgG, and its sensitivity is less as compared to IgA. It's 40%, but specificity is around 98%. And what about anti-gliadin antibody? It's less than 80% and more than 80%. And anti-gliadin antibody IgG, it's variable and non-specific. And endomycin antibody, the sensitivity and specificity in most of the studies is around 90 to 92%. Now, what are the causes of false positive serology? If any patient came to you with your suspicion is false positive, it means you are suspecting that the report is not true. The causes could be, it means false positive serology with negative biopsy. The causes could be autoimmune disease, liver disease, all causes. Latent celiac disease, we have already discussed. In latent celiac disease, the serology will be positive, but with negative biopsy. MARCH1 lesion with increased intraepithelial lymphocytes. Okay, we'll discuss March classification later on, in which March 0 to March 4. Okay, patient if already on low gluten diet, we have already discussed. If patient have stopped their gluten and after that they are going for testing of anti-TTG serological test, it will be mostly false positive. Patchy lesion like dermatitis herpetiform, biopsy technique, if they are the endoscopist is not taking biopsy properly, then it could be a negative biopsy. And newly diagnosed IDDM and other are unknown causes. Now, what are the causes of false negative serology? Patient who have celiac disease on biopsy, but negative antibody test. IgA deficiency, it's around 1.7 to 2.6% of patients with celiac disease, which we have already discussed. Self-imposed gluten-free diet in early or minimal enteropathy. Patient on immunosuppression, Down syndrome, smoker, especially women, and other is laboratory issue. Biopsy is necessary for all symptomatic patients, and you should take the biopsy from the duodenal bulb. It means first part of duodenum, and other are that from the second, third, fourth part of duodenum, and it may be a jejunum. Otherwise, duodenum is enough for diagnosis, but one sample should be taken from duodenal bulb and rest of 4 samples from the duodenum. IgA deficiency, it's more common in celiac disease. As we have discussed, it's 2 to 5% versus less than 5% in general population. Serological test falsely negative. So we should use IgG assay in this case. It's TTG IgG and anti-gluten antibody. What will be the endoscopic finding? In endoscopic finding, there will be a sculpt fold, decrease in Kerckering folds, fissuring. Fissuring, it means the endoscopic duodenal mucosa is fissured. I'll show you a picture later on. It could be a flattened fold. It means shortened height of D2 fold. It could be flat, and it could be a normal appearing mucosa. Right? We have discussed the March classification. Now March 0 to March 4. March 0 is normal mucosal in villus architecture. March 1 is called as infiltrative. It means increased number of intraepithelial lymphocytes. It's IEL. How many number of increased intraepithelial lymphocytes are significant? If it is more than 30, it's significant. Intraepithelial lymphocyte with normal mucosa and villus architecture is March 1, infiltrative. March 2 is hyperplastic. March 3 is further subdivided into partial villus atrophy, subtotal villus, and total villus atrophy. If it is hypoplastic, it's also called as March 4. Now, what are the causes of villus atrophy other than celiac disease? Normally in our practice, when we are going to take biopsy from the duodenum, and if your suspicion is celiac disease, with celiac disease, you should write down, rule out celiac disease and rule out giardiasis and other causes, because there are multiple other causes of villus atrophy. If any patient is having history of tuberculosis, you should write down tuberculosis, rule out. If any patient has got history of HIV enteropathy, you should write down. If any patient has got history of Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, you suspect, then you should write down, rule out this thing. And we've already discussed that intestinal lymphoma, mostly T-cell lymphoma, is one of the major complication of celiac disease, and it's one of the most common cause of villus atrophy other than celiac disease. So now we'll read out what are the causes of villus atrophy other than celiac disease. Giardiasis, collagenous sprue, common variable immunodeficiency, autoimmune enteropathy, Whipple disease, radiation enteritis, tuberculosis, Crohn's disease, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, and HIV enteropathy. Now, gluten and treatment of celiac disease. How much is too much? Now, what's the treatment? As we have already discussed, treatment is gluten-free diet, gluten-free diet. If you are going to give gluten-free diet, patient symptoms, patient complication, patient sign, everything will be improved. Even the patient height will be increased. And patient laboratory parameter, if the transaminases are increased, they also will improve. Right. Now, what's the treatment option? Either you remove the genes, which is not possible, either you remove the grains. There are two options, no other option. Either remove the genes or remove the grains. Only treatment for celiac disease is GFD, gluten-free diet, gluten-free diet. And it's not easy, but patient if is tolerating gluten-free diet and patient is strict compliance with gluten-free diet, strict lifelong compliance, then patient symptom will be improved. So gluten is present in wheat, rye, barley. And what about oats? Now we'll discuss regarding oats. Oats are safe or not, whether it contain wheat product gluten or not. Studies from 1970 and onwards suggest that oats were toxic in celiac disease. Oats contain a protein, it's called avenin. Avenin, it is similar to wheat protein. They both are prolamine. They are rich in glutamine and proline, both amino acids. Avenin proportion of proline and glutamine is very low in oats compared to gliadin in wheat. This was the study which is done. This is children fed gluten-free diet versus gluten-free diet with oats. It's the first large study to indicate that oats in gluten-free diet do not prevent normalization of small bowel tissue or celiac marker. Other evidence supporting the safety of oats in this was study was done by the Kilmartin and it was published in Gut Journal. It's in 2003, and other studies say that oats are non-toxic and immunogenic. What are the sources of gluten? Obvious sources are breads, bagels, you can see cakes, cereals, cookies, pasta, noodles, and rolls, and also pastries. What are the expected benefits of gluten-free diet? It heals small bowel, it improves intestinal function, returns sense of health and well-being, it improves quality of life, may decrease the risk of autoimmune illness, may improve outcome of pregnancy if the patient is infertile, and the decrease risk of non-Hodgkin lymphoma and other malignancy, and it improves life expectancy. Expected benefits of gluten-free diet: protection from non-Hodgkin lymphoma, significant risk reduction following strict gluten-free diet, may also be true in patients with dermatitis herpetiformis. At 12 months, BMI, triceps, skin fold thickness, fat mass, bone mass, and body weight will be increased. Improvement in iron deficiency anemia and also the biochemical status such as AST and ALT. Improvement in control of IDDM. Improvement in BMD, bone mineral density, has been demonstrated. They all are expected benefits of gluten-free diet. What are the factors that influence compliance with gluten-free diet? Cost. Significant economic burden of gluten-free diet, because you need to choose which is the gluten-free diet, and it will increase the cost. And availability of gluten-free products is not easy, especially in Pakistan. Palatability, inadequate knowledge of gluten-free diet, and also the patient will not accept that he will not take gluten-free diet for lifelong. So it needs a counseling, reassurance, and you should say patient that are the benefits of gluten-free diet. You can be avoided by the cancer and other things. So patient will accept. What are the label issues? Look for the hidden source of gluten. You always look for the hidden source of gluten. Gluten contamination in food preparation, not belonging to patient support group, inadequate medical dietary follow-up, absence of symptom with ingestion of gluten. It's a very good thing. If absence of symptom will occur, then patient will say, okay, he is going to take gluten-free diet. And other circumstance, he can not dine out. If he is going to dine out, then he should say that the gluten-free diet should be ordered. Social issues, institutional care. Mortality rates in celiac disease. Standardized mortality rate is 3.4 times than the general population. It's major. Malignancy rate, 14% reported in untreated celiac disease. The studies say mortality rate 2 times higher in celiac, mortality rate 2.5 times higher in celiac with male absorption, severe male absorption. That was lasted for 3 years after the diagnosis. And mortality rate 6 times higher for patients not on gluten-free diet. And mortality rate 1.1 times in celiac disease with minor symptom or diagnosis because of positive serology. Celiac disease risks for mortality. Increased mortality when male absorption leads to the diagnosis. It also increase with the delay in the diagnosis. It also increase with the poor adherence to gluten-free diet. We've said multiple times gluten-free diet should be gluten-free diet, and it should be a good adherence, good compliance with gluten-free diet, and good follow-up with their gastroenterologist. Compliance with gluten-free diet returns the patient normal. Celiac disease long term. The good news, most patients respond completely to gluten-free diet even in age more than 68 diagnosis. I've seen so many patients because I'm a gastroenterologist. I have seen multiple patients after the age of 60, and if we have taken the biopsy and did the serological test, and if patient has celiac disease, the patient have stopped their gluten from the diet, their symptoms improve. Many studies suggest normal lifespan for patients adhering to gluten-free diet. Studies demonstrate improved GI and other multi-system complications with GFD. Many studies demonstrate a reversal of malignant risk of celiac disease when patient is following a gluten-free diet. Monitoring response, how you will monitor. Symptom resolution, it's often rapid, sometimes it may be delayed. Correction of vitamin deficiency, if iron is low, you should give iron supplement. B12 is low, B12, you should give B12 supplement, folate, calcium, vitamin D. Celiac serology recheck at 6 to 12 months and small biopsy recheck at 1 to 2 years to see this improvement is there or not. Regular general health check GLD. What will be the follow-up for celiac disease? A diagnosis, bone density. Treat if abnormal. Screen for nutritional deficiencies, such as if iron, B12, folate, if it's low, calcium, vitamin D, you should treat. Screen for autoimmune diseases. Encourage compliance with strict GFD, gluten-free diet. Regular yearly medical examination. Encourage compliance with GFD. Suggest cancer screening. Screen first degree relative for celiac disease with serology first, because an endoscopic biopsy should be done after if serology is positive, otherwise not. Now it's a mnemonic, celiac, 6 elements of treatment, CELIAC. Consultation with a skilled dietitian. You should follow the skilled dietitian. The dietitian will give you charts which diet contain gluten, which diet doesn't contain gluten, and education about the disease. Lifelong adherence to the gluten-free diet. It's difficult, but patients should have to opt. Identification and treatment of nutritional deficiency, access to an advocacy group, continuous long-term follow-up by a multidisciplinary team. Now, what are the barriers to compliance? Ability to manage emotion, depression, anxiety, ability to resist temptation, exercising restraints, feeling of deprivation, fear generated by inaccurate information. Factors that improve adherence. Internal adherence factors include knowledge about the gluten-free diet, understanding the risk factor and serious complication can occur to the patient, ability to break down big changes into smaller steps, ability to reinforce positive changes internally, positive coping skills, ability to recognize and manage mental health issues, trust in physician and dietitian. Now, what will be the future? Immunotherapy. Either you'll block the TTG or block HLA DQ28. As we have said, no DQ28, no celiac disease. If DQ28 present, this is celiac disease. But currently, the only available and effective treatment is GFD, gluten-free diet. Block T cell receptor. Now, in summary, celiac disease is not rare. It can occur from 1:100 to 300. It can present in many ways. We have already discussed multiple times. It can present as IDA, depression, osteopenic bone disease, abnormal LFT, non-specific or IBS like GI symptom, irritable bowel syndrome, dyspepsia, dermatitis herpetiform, recurrent abortion or microscopic colitis. It's also associated with autoimmune disease. Screening is with TTG IgA is probably best test. If patient is IgA deficient, then you'll go for IgG, because IgA sensitivity and specificity varies from 90 to 98%. It's a good test. If it's positive, then you'll confirm the diagnosis by biopsy. D2 biopsy, it means second bar of duodenum. You should take biopsy from second bar of duodenum, at least 3 to 4 pieces, and one fold is from one piece is from duodenal bulb, first part of duodenum. Cornerstone of treatment is avoidance of gluten. Newer therapies on the horizon, but unclear if they will ever replace gluten-free diet. This is all regarding celiac disease. If you've got any question, you can ask. Iqbal, Numan bhai? Hello?
जी सर जी
If they've got any question, they can ask. I think you should open.
सर चैट रूम पे देख लें, कोई क्वेश्चन किया कर रहे हैं स्टूडेंट, तो आप देख लें
Chat room.
सर की जहाँ शेयर स्क्रीन का ऑप्शन ना, उसके बराबर में चैट दिया हुआ है।
हाँ, तो चैट स्क्रीन तो खोला हुआ है, चैट में तो मुझे नजर नहीं आ रहा कुछ।
नहीं सर, कोई ये नहीं क्वेश्चन नहीं है सर इसमें।
Currently there is no. Students, if they've got you have got any question, you can ask. Feel free to ask regarding celiac disease. आपको आवाज आ रही है ना क्लियर?
जी सर, आवाज तो जा रही है उनको तो।
हाँ तो सही है, क्योंकि मैंने मास्क पहना हुआ है तो मैंने कहा कंफर्म कर लूं दोबारा।
नहीं सर, ऐसा कोई इशू नहीं है सर, कोई मसला नहीं।
तो स्टिल देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन।
जी सर, फिर भी अगर आप अपना ईमेल देना चाहते हैं स्टूडेंट को क्वेश्चंस के लिए, तो ईमेल अपना यहाँ पे इस पे चैट रूम पे टाइप कर दें, तो जो भी क्वेश्चन होंगे वो आपसे पर्सनली पूछ लें।
नो प्रॉब्लम। वेयर शुड आई राइट डाउन द ईमेल एड्रेस?
जी जी,
वेयर शुड आई राइट डाउन? You can write down.
सर मैं लिख दूं?
हाँ, you'll write down. I don't have any problem.
सर आपका ईमेल बता देंगे?
Type message here. I'll write down. You can see?
जी जी।
It's hafizullah.sheikh@duss.edu.pk. Okay. This is my email address. If anybody got any question, you can ask now or later on. I don't have any problem. Okay, one question is, what is hypertransaminemia? Can you explain that again? Okay, it's from Navera Shoaib. It's a good question. Hypertransaminemia, it means you'll order the LFTs, liver function test, in which the SGPT, it's called as ALT, and SGOT, it's called as AST. They both, most of the time, will increase. And if you rule out other causes of increase SGPT, SGOT, then you should also search for the celiac disease. Initially with serology, which we have discussed, TTG, IgA, and other antibodies, followed by the biopsy if it is positive. I hope everything is clear. Is there any question? Is there any other question you can ask? Numan?
जी सर।
जी, एक क्वेश्चन आया था, आई हैव गिवन द आंसर, हाइपरट्रांसमाइनेमिया। आवाज आ रही थी ना?
जी जी बिल्कुल आ रही थी सर।
तो और आई हैव गिवन द email address. Now Navera Shoaib again written, no sir thanks, everything is clear, I think so.
ठीक है सर, मच बेटर।
Okay, so now what should I do?
सर अब क्लास स्लाइड्स खत्म हो गई सारी, लेक्चर पूरा हो गया?
Yes, finished.
ठीक है सर, नो इशू सर। अभी 5 मिनट बाकी हैं, 4 मिनट बाकी हैं। अगर कुछ यानी आप कुछ डिटेल देना चाहते हैं, लाइटली क्लूड देना चाहते हैं तो दे दें, वरना फिर मैं क्लास ऑफ कर देता हूँ 10 बजे तक। I think it's 3 minutes left. You can, if there are no questions, because they have written everything is clear and no questions. They have written no sir thanks. Right. ठीक है सर, थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू।
Okay, Allah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Numan. Thank you.